Today, we're talking tires. Not just new, but are used tires worth it? Sometimes they are. Most of the time, though, we'll get to that. Well, thought came up the other day I had to buy some tires. Do I buy new? Do I buy used? And I thought that'd make a, tell you the process and what I used to determine how I did that and determine what was a good deal and what wasn't. All these Crown Vic parts, don't worry about these. I think we're pretty much done with the Crown Vic for a while. I just have no place to put them. And we're going to be doing some more trucking videos, but I've been home for, the truck's been in the shop. We're getting some pretty good work done and maintenance done before it gets too cold. So I've been home a while, and that's why you're going to see a few at-home videos, but the trucking videos will be coming back shortly. So let's get started talking about tires, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's go. First things first, as you probably noticed in some of my videos, I've had a stack of tires stacked up here for a while. I've got to get rid of them, but they'll be a good place to start. I used to have these in the back, but too many people were sneaking down the alley trying to see if they could steal them because free tire. And they got tread on them, but they're junk. So let me show you the downfall of a free tire. On the surface, these all look good. Great tread. And, well, except for this 40-year-old bias ply. But you can see where it started to crack and crack around here. This one was on the back of one of my old Torinos I don't own anymore, and somebody had a lot of fun. They had so much fun that when I bought it was a 73 Grand Torino. When I bought that one, I had to replace the rear end because fun was had by all up to the point it broke. We got here is a set of Michelin Green X tires. I found an entire set of these at Alex's up in Hayesville. Alex always hooks me up, so I like shopping there because he's local and he's always got good deals and he's impeccably honest. But he had a set of takeoffs. Now, these is a complete set that were taken off a wrecked car. These are good. There's no abnormal wear on each side. They're all matched, front, rear, the whole ordeal. These aren't oddballs. These were all taken off one car. If you can find a set like that, that's the best way to buy used tires. Now, if you only need one, that's a hard. Most of the time now, everybody wants to sell you them in pairs. And buying a matched set in a pair is not a bad deal because if you need one, replace both of them and then you'll have a spare. And I'll show you what I did the last time with this tire over here. This is a Continental 235/55/17, same ones that are on all the cars. I bought this one in a pair. Now, what you really want to do when you're looking for used tires is find the wear bars and make sure that you have at least half the tread from the rear bars up and down. You want a good chunk of meat still left on the used tires because these things will wear out really quickly. And I bought this as a match set even though I only needed one. But this one is a good thing to have because I needed a spare on top of it. So what you want to do is run your hands over it, make sure that it's got no abnormal wear. But the one thing that I've noticed is that if you start looking at this, the tread, if you see any kind of wave, don't buy it. Make sure you look at the tread and it rolls straight and there's no... Now, this one I can tell was on the front of a car. Because if you look, this side's real high, but this side right here, it's got a slight indentation. It's not detrimental, but if you're going to run these on the front, make sure this one's on the outside, not on the inside, because it will pull your car and cause abnormal wear in your steering components. That's why you need to be very careful about buying used tires. Now, if you're going to put this on the back, it'll be all right. But generally speaking, if you can find a good even pair for your front, that's good. But if you're only going to buy If you need tires for the back, used are all right, but I always recommend buying new tires for the front, just so you can save your steering components, unless you're getting ready to sell the car. So let's look at some new tires, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. In comparison with new tires, these tires maybe have 5,000 miles on them. They're still got a lot of tread. These will last, but with these 55s on these cars, the tread isn't as deep as a standard, 15-inch 70-15, 235 70-15. These have a lot less tread, so you have to really kind of be a little easier on them because you don't have as much meat. But they do grip to the road, and they will last a while if you don't abuse them. But as you see, you can't even, like with the wear marks here, I have probably 3 times the amount of space above the wear marks as below. That's why I said, if you're buying used tires, find the wear marks, and you want at least 50% from the bottom of the wear mark to the wear mark. You want at least that much on top of the wear mark. We're talking maybe at least a good 1/4 of an inch. That way you'll get some life out of them. But there's a downfall when you get tires, new tires or used tires with that much tread. This right here is a brand new Goodyear that Red bought for our El Camino, and I've had it for a couple of years now. It's lasted longer than the El Camino. I'm kind of wishing we still had the El Camino, honestly, and so does she, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if you see, this is a brand new tire. I've actually had this on a car. What do we have it on? Like a total of 2 days? Yeah. And I think it was on the Cutlass once. And so it's not even broken in. And as you see with this is a 225 70-15. The tread is twice as deep as the other tires. So that's something you're going to have to be familiar with, is what the actual tread depth with your new tire versus your used tire is supposed to be. That way you can get the best deal for your buck. But there's also a few things that we need to look at on this tire versus this used one right here. And I'll put them up by comparison. Now, if I was to buy this tire brand new, chances are in the shape it's in, or used, chances are in the shape it's in, he'd want a $100 bill for it. The damn thing is, I can buy it brand new for $110. So, it's worth spending the money on a new tire. This right here, this was a $30 tire. He sold me the 2 of them for $60. And doesn't have a whole lot of tread on it, but it's got enough tread to get me through the winter. So, you also, when it comes to these used tires here, part of why I had to change them out on the white car was all around the bead, they were splitting. You got to remember that the previous car that had them on there, they're the ones that broke them in. They're the ones that did all the damage. And a lot of these newer tires, especially these tires on the Crown Vics, some of them are actually directional. And if you flip them around, you put them on, you run them backwards, you do, even if you have them right side out, you can still, you're stressing them in a different way. So they're having to almost re-break into the new car. And it sounds goofy, but you get it like a half-life out of them. And that's been my experience, especially with the Goodyears that I had on the white Crown Vic. They functioned fine on this. I had one bad one, so I put 4 brand new tires on that. Put the 3 of them on this car with one of the Continentals, and they ran great until it didn't. And then they started coming apart. They started shaking and vibrating. I had a belt break in one of them. So it was something that I had to watch. One thing that a lot of people don't think about, and the main cause of tire wear, isn't steering components. It's not having a balance and having a bent wheel. And if you don't keep your tires inflated properly, that also contributes to a short tire life. And nothing is more true with used tires. If you have a used tire that's used to going in a direction on a particular vehicle, and you change all that up and you re-stress it a different way, that will shorten your tire life quite exponentially. So it's important to make sure that your wheels are good, your air pressure stays constant, and balanced. Make sure they're balanced. And I'll tell you this, when you go to buy your used tires, make sure they're balanced. If your used tire guy won't balance them, don't buy from him, because you're going to have to go somewhere else to get them rebalanced. Because if he won't balance them, chances are you're going to just get the crap beat out of you as you drive somewhere to get it. And an unbalanced tire, not only will that blow shocks, it wears out suspension components, and it'll shorten the life of that tire, because it's only going to be driving it basically on one side. You're going to have a flat spot. So it's very important to get your stuff balanced, especially with used tires. As I sit here and I got this set of wheels, and these are actually 442 wheels that I'm going to put on the Oldsmobile. I bought them at a pawn shop for $100 for wheel. I bought them for the tires, and the wheels came with it. And it turns out the wheels are worth 6 times what the tires were. Go figure. But I got these 442 wheels here, and I'm going to demonstrate what you need to look for on your wheels when you go. Make sure they're round, make sure they're not dented, and when you go in and get your used tires put on, have them put new valve stems in. You know, a lot of my troubles have not been the tires, it's been the valve stems, and when they leak and you can't keep the Schrader valve, or whatever you call it, closed, and your tire keeps going up and down, that will just bust the sidewalls out quicker than anything, especially on used tires. So make sure it's not dented, and you know, got some weights here we got to take off, but you know, there's a, where was it? There's a little bit of a ding here, but you know, a little bit of a dent, but it's not going to cause any major harm. But just make sure that your wheels are in good shape, because you know, the tire may not be bad when you buy it, but if your wheels aren't proper, you're going to have a whole lot of trouble with those used tires. You know, Alex really hooked me up with these tires. I got a full set off a wrecked car with about, oh, maybe not even half the tread gone for $250 plus tax. And that's not a bad deal, especially for Michelin's. These are great tires. Took them out on the turnpike last night. They do 80 just fine. If you're dealing with a used tire company that they have excuses, or they'll only sell you pairs, or this, that, and they won't mix and match this, that, and the other thing, chances are they're probably just trying to screw you. Now, most of the time, if they have a match set, they would prefer to sell them. Together, and I get that. And if it's a good deal, go ahead and buy them. I was looking at a pair of used for this because it's going to sit most of the winter, and they wanted $120 for the pair, and they would only take cash. And I'm like, no, that just doesn't even sound right. He had some lame excuse, and chances are they were takeoffs, and they'd already charged the previous owner a disposal fee. But I went down and talked to my tire guy, with who I should have gone to begin with, and guess what? Nice Michelins. But if you can swing it, truthfully, I'll tell anybody to get new tires. What they're charging for used tires now, you know, for an extra $25 per tire, if you got it, it's worth just buying new. Even if they're a little lower a brand, a new tire is still a new tire. And if you get it from a good, reputable place, you know, a lot of times it comes with mounting, balancing, and, you know, they'll stand behind their products. Nobody's going to stand behind these. You know, if I get a flat, Alex isn't going to stand behind him. Why would he? It's a used tire. If I get a flat, yeah. If I got a flat, you know, the same day I bought him, I brought it back in, he would have fixed it for free. He's good like that. But there's no road hazard with these. So it's give and take. If you can afford new tires, I highly recommend just spending the money, because what I discovered years ago when I was buying tires, you know, for my daily, was that I was buying tires 2 to 3 times a year, you know, instead of just buying one set of tires every 2 years. So when it all came down to it, I was actually spending more money on used tires than I was on new. And especially this day and age right now, everybody's looking to save a buck, so the used tire guys are charging more. I was surprised that I got these tires as good of a deal as I did. And I'm really grateful for my tire guy. He's a good man. So, you know, if you can find a set, that's what I would go with. But if you can't find a set and they want to mix and match and they're starting to get a little hinky about putting them on, these tires right here, this is about a $200 a piece tire. But the Ironmans I have on the black and white, those are $119 a piece. And I got everything mount, balanced, put it on and all that for, it was $493. Sounds like a lot of money, and yeah, it is. But those tires are going to last me 2 to 3 years. These tires, they'll last me a year. And I'll have to put another set on it. And I was actually going to put a set of Ironmans on this like I did that until I came across these. So it's all up to you with what you do. But just be discerning, watch where you spend your money, and find yourself a good tire guy. And chances are your used tire guy and your new tire guy are not going to be the same guy. So just be discerning. Happy hunting, good shopping, and we'll see you next time. Oh, and by the way, don't forget to check your lug nuts and retighten them after 500 miles. Especially, well, it doesn't matter who. Just check your lug nuts. You'll be thankful that you did.